don't have Nancy here.
Yeah. That would mean somebody would have to read it.
Well,
I suppose give it a shot.
Might have to say something.
uh-oh. You just might.
If she doesn't show up, I'll do it. Don't
Wait.
put the sick one through it.
Okay. Call this meeting of the Fremont County Board of Commissioners to order. If you'll please rise and let's join Tom Kilgore from the First Southern Baptist Church in the invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please pray with me. Father God, I thank you for this wonderful Colorado day. But as we pray and we thank you for this great day, we're mindful of the citizens in Ohio and Texas and Oklahoma and elsewhere who are not so well today, who are struggling with the devastation of storms. So, Father, our hearts go out, our minds and our prayers go out to them today. And I pray for like-minded county commissioners who now will be picking up the pieces in those counties. And I thank you for our leadership here and the job they've done for our county. Her future, Father, is bright and wonderful, and we thank you for the growth that we are enjoying here in our county. So now, God, as we go about the business of this county, Father, give us the wisdom we need. Make us mindful ever so of those less fortunate in our own county and community, so that we may always take them in mind and reach out and help them. We thank you for the blessings of life. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Tom. All right, roll call, please.
Commissioner McFall.
Present.
Commissioner Bell.
Present?
Commissioner Payne.
Present?
County Attorney Jackson.
Present.
County Manager Bryant.
Present.
Planning and Zoning Director Garrett.
Present. All right, on to the approval of the agenda.
Mr. Chair, I am not aware of any changes we need to make to today's agenda. Therefore, I move to approve as presented.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner Payne.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Motion carries.
On to the consent agenda. We'll note that we are scheduling 2 public hearings for June 11th, one for temporary use permit for Far Royal Gorge 50 and Ride the Rim. That was scheduled to be on a public hearing today, but they added some to that, so they had to change that. So that will be June 11th. And the second one is a temporary use permit for Camp Trident.
That, Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second with the note that those public hearings we are scheduling on June 11th will begin at 10 a.m.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Payne.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, on to administrative and informational. Staff and elected officials. First, we have the county manager's report. Ms. Cindy Bryant. Good morning.
Good morning. So just a couple of quick items. On Friday, May 17th, Commissioner McFall, Commissioner McPayne, and I attended Commissioner McFall, Commissioner Payne, and I attended a walkthrough up at the Hayden Creek project, and it was going very well. So it's always good to get out there and see those projects. We're really excited to wrap this up and get hopefully some much needed relief up in that area. It seemed to be running the way it should, so with the high snow that we have up in those areas, there will be a lot of runoff, and so we're hopeful that everything stays in place. On Tuesday, May 21st, I attended the area managers luncheon, and our new emergency manager, Michael Kroll, actually came with me, and it was really good to have discussions on each role that each of the groups plays in different emergencies, coming up with the necessary plans. So it was a very productive meeting that day. And then just a quick note, so next week, the commissioners and I will be attending the CCI conference, And so it's always good to get up there and get a lot of the continuing education and trying to come up with some suggestions, ideas, different things that we can do to improve the community. So that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Okay. I would just like to mention I missed that tour of the Hayden Pass project because I was in Pueblo all day that day for an Action 22 board member. Action 22 consists of the 22 southwestern counties throughout Colorado, and we're basically a political action group that gives voice to rural Colorado up in Denver during the legislative season. This past meeting, we had the opportunity to have 4 of our state representatives and senators with us. It was a really interesting day. We had the opportunity to question them on some of the things that they had done, things that they hope to continue doing in the future. We had just some really good back and forth discussion. So it was a really interesting day, and I'm really happy that Fremont County has the opportunity to be part of Action 22 because there are 2 other groups in Colorado that actually act as kind of the same sort of an organization for both of their areas, but those 2 seem to have started falling by the wayside a little bit. But I just want to assure you all that as part of Action 22, Fremont County will continue to have that very strong rural voice and to let the legislation and the legislators in Denver know that rural Colorado still is part of Colorado, and we intend for them to hear our voice and to never forget that we are here. So it was a great meeting.
Good deal. Thank you. I say this every time, I think, but Sonny kind of mentioned the snowpack up high, and we do have a very high snowpack, unlike we've had in the last many, many years, but the fire danger is still very real. If anybody watched the news, there was a fire up, I believe, around Woodland Park where a campfire got out of hand. So the trees don't know that the drought's over. It takes them several years to catch up. So it's still really dry out there, so just be very careful and diligent. Anybody out there having fun in the woods, and keep the fire danger very, very low, if any. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, the next part is citizens who wish to address commissioners on matters not scheduled on the agenda. Do we have any slips? No one. Okay. There is no old business, so we'll move right on into new business. The first item on new business is a proclamation declaring Safety Jam Day in Fremont County. It will be June 8th, 2019. We don't have Nancy, do we? No. Okay. So Commissioner Payne is going to read the resolution.
Proclamation,
Proclamation, sorry.
actually.
Thank you.
It's proclamation declaring Safety Jam Day, June 8th, 2019, whereas emergency services providers respond to thousands of emergencies in Fremont County each year, providing medical treatment, fire suppression, and law enforcement. And whereas many of these occurrences and the severity of these emergencies can be reduced and even prevented with proper safety education and/or equipment, along with the education on the use of such safety equipment. And whereas emergency responders and allied health care providers in Fremont County, along with many concerned businesses and organizations, feel there is a need to provide preventative safety education and available safety equipment to families in Fremont County. And whereas American Medical Response of Canyon City and St. Thomas More Hospital have brought together allied healthcare providers, fire and law enforcement, emergency responders, as well as many businesses and civic-minded organizations to provide safety education and equipment in hopes of reducing injuries and improve the health of the citizens we serve through the 3rd annual AMR Safety Jam Fremont County event to be held June 8th, 2019 at Rudd Park. Now therefore, the Board of County Commissioners of Fremont County, Colorado does hereby proclaim the week of June 8th, 2019 as Safety Jam Day in the county of Fremont, Colorado. And with that, Mr. Chair, I make a motion to adopt the proclamation of declaring Safety Jam Day, June 8th, 2019.
I will second that with the note that if you've never been to a safety jam, it's a really great event to attend. They have a lot of different activities that happen. Many of the things that they do are geared toward children. So if you have children or if you have grandchildren, here in the community, this would be a really wonderful free way to spend the day, entertain all of those kids, and let them learn something about safety along the way.
It has been moved and seconded to adopt a proclamation declaring Safety Jam Day in Fremont County on June 8th, 2019. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Payne,
Aye.
Commissioner Bell,
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, item number 2, John C. Fremont Library District update. We have the director, Tabby Solakovich.
You got lucky
Tabby, we
twice.
practiced in the office this morning.
It's just that under the pressure.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So I like it better. Tabby, what's on the menu here?
Well, thank you for having me. Annually, I like to come and give you guys an update of what we've been doing at the library in Florence. So I have information for you of what went on last year. Up at the top, this is like a modified director's report that I give to my board of directors every month. And what I do is I kind of make one for you guys for the whole year. So up at the top of the page, I just wanted to give you guys some ideas of how many new patrons we had sign up for cards last year. 363, so pretty good. Over to the right, give you guys an idea of how many total patrons that we have at the library. So the total number of patrons right now is 5,349. 3,846 of those are actually in district, and the John C. Fremont Library District, for those of you who aren't quite sure, our boundary lines are, we have Florence, Williamsburg, Rockville, and Coal Creek. Then we also have out-of-district patrons, so we do have people that come from Canyon City, Penrose, Wetmore, etc. So those are also our patrons, but from out of district. Have some numbers there letting you guys know how many books were checked out. We do have ebooks and e-audio books now, so the numbers continue to go up once patrons realize that we do have that resource available too. Our budget, the 2018 exemption from audit application was submitted. I was waiting for approval. I actually received that on Saturday. So that letter is actually in the back of your packet, but I was waiting and I got it just in time. The 2019 adopted budget is also included in your packet. And then what I like to give you guys is just a list, a brief synopsis of some of the different projects and programs we have going on at the library. We continue to have movie nights, family movies, adult programs. We have summer reading for adults and kids. Sign up is actually this week, so come on by. Sign up. We have book clubs, book talks, writers groups, wool gatherers meet weekly, lovely, rowdy group, love them. We have our story times at the library. We actually have story time starting in a little bit today, and then we will start story time in Farmers Market next week. We also have the children's summer reading program. We have our art wall, and I do continue to have the little free libraries in the town halls and at the park Lil's Garden on the corner of Main Street and Petroleum. So we do keep those stocked with books that people can take whenever they want. The grants that we had going on last year, we continue to have state grants for libraries, $4,500 toward educational resources. We use that funding to make it possible to have more ebooks and e-audio books for our patrons and to have online databases. If we didn't have that grant funding, we wouldn't be able to offer those databases to our patrons. We did also have Growing Readers Together through the Buell Foundation last year, and that was $4,000, helped us to have an additional story time on Fridays, and it also helped us to create some early literacy bags that we were able to give to the friends, family, and neighbor caregivers. The E-rate program, I continue to fill out the grant funding for that, and they are giving us an 80% discount on our internet services, and hopefully if everything works out like it's supposed to, we should be able to get much greater internet speeds starting next month, or July, starting in July. The other grant that I had last year was this CSD safety grant, and I was actually able to get a 50% reimbursement on a new swamp cooler for the library. I don't know how many of you have been in our library, but it tends to get pretty warm in the summertime. It's an old building, and they said that that was the first year they ever had anyone request funding for a swamp cooler. And I said, we want to keep our patrons safe and cool and not passing out on us. And they actually approved it, and they paid for half, which was $741 of that swamp cooler. Our Friends of the Library group, they continue to have their fundraisers throughout the year. The December auction, they just had their Mother's Day silent auction. They do still have the bookshelf in the library. They won't be having the yard sale this June, but they did have one last June. And they made a ton of bookmarks. They were working with patrons. They had different events at the library. And those bookmarks, once they start selling those, the proceeds for those are going to go directly into our building fund. So that'll be very beneficial. They did donate 10 boxes of books to the Wetmore Community Library for their annual book sale. And they also, they've decided that they're going to get out of the book business, and they had a ton of books in their storage unit. They decided to go to a smaller storage unit, and what we did last year is we donated all of the books that they had in the unit to a chaplain who actually sends those books out with soldiers going on deployment. So that was one of the big projects that the Friends had last year. Technology, we got our new server hooked up. It's installed. It's working well. The website was updated, and as I said, hopefully in the next couple of months we should get our internet increased as well. The library facility update, we have about 2.5 years left on our lease. So the board, staff, Friends, and I are still in that process of finding a new home. So keep your fingers crossed for us. And in your packet, we have the director's report. That's the one that's on top. The 2019 adopted budget message, my list of my current board of trustees, and the additional item that isn't included in your list is that letter saying, yes, it was approved. So, any questions?
I just have one. I don't remember if it was you or if it might have been Christy and Penrose. Mentioned once that when you talk about patrons who are out of district, there actually are folks who tend to be huge fans of libraries, and so they kind of wander the state or nearby states in search of and collecting library memberships. So do you guys see those people come in every once in a while?
We do. We actually have people from out of state as well, and we do also occasionally get letters in the mail from people in other states asking if they can have one of our cards and become a patron, and we send them the application form so they can fill it out. So yes, it's fun.
I can understand that. I'm also a huge fan of books, but the difference, I guess, for me is I like those personal relationships with my books, and so I buy my books. And much to my husband's distress, because I have an entire household of them. And yeah, I just appreciate so much what you guys do, and making books and information and the internet and all of those other things you do, making those available to the public. So thank you so much. I think you're doing a fabulous job.
I agree, and actually all the programming that you guys do too, it's great to see that you have adult programs and youth programs. So
Yes.
it's good to keep everybody involved and get them to the library.
We try our best. Thank you.
Thanks, Tabby.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. On to item number 3, liquor license renewal. SSA Inc., doing business as SA Inc. This is at the Royal Gorge Bridge. Get to the right place.
Where's the setup?
Okay, so This is a renewal. I guess what we'll do, we'll just start with the staff report, please.
All the paperwork has been submitted to the clerk and recorder's office, and they request a 45-day waiver of the submittal requirements.
So we did get a letter from them stating why they were late in their submittal, but they did pay the late fee, right?
Correct.
They just want the waiver of the 45-day requirement.
And they are not seeking the return or the waiver of that fee, correct?
Correct.
First, we're missing the sheriff's report. We did get that. Didn't see any problems with that. Is there anything else?
So just the 45-day submittal requirements, all they're asking
For a waiver for that,
for
right?
a waiver.
Right. They paid the fee already. They're
Paid
not
the
asking
fee.
for a waiver of the late
All right.
fee.
Is there anyone in attendance? Are you going to find out if there's anyone who wants to speak on this?
Yeah, do we have anybody from the corporation? Does not look like it.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, if you're prepared to accept a motion?
Sure.
Given the fact that they did explain to us why the submittal was late, there was a little bit of a problem with an address and FedEx and new people working in the firm, and the fact that they are not requesting a waiver of the fee, I move to approve the waiver of the 45-day submittal requirement for SSA Inc. Optional premise license at 4218 County Road 3A in Canyon City.
Is that along with the renewal of the license?
Yes, with the renewal of the license.
Okay, second.
Okay, so it has been moved and seconded for a liquor license renewal and a waiver request for the 45-day submittal requirement for SSA Inc. at 4218 County Road 3A. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner Payne.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay. Next item is approval of a memorandum of understanding between the Department of Interior, Bureau of Land Management, Royal Gorge Field Office, and Fremont County for the development and environmental impact statement associated with the Parkdale Minerals material sale. So what happens in this situation is the Bureau of Land Management is getting ready to prepare an intent to prepare an environmental impact statement on an application by Martin Marietta to expand the Parkdale Quarry onto further BLM property. Federal regulations require BLM to reach out to collaborate to the fullest extent possible with cooperating agencies concerning those issues relating to the jurisdiction, which would be Fremont County. So what this is a memorandum of understanding between BLM and Fremont County to work together with them on this potential expansion of the Martin Marietta Parkdale Quarry.
Are we also going to approve just the chairman's signature on this? Is that right?
That's all it requires in this
Doesn't
case.
matter. If the board has approval, the chairman can.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I would just make note, Mr. Chair, that we have entered into other cooperating agency status agreements with the BLM in the past, and things seem to have worked out really well. I think it gives us, as a county, the opportunity for a larger voice than if we were not in a cooperating agency status. So I just appreciate the fact that they reached out to us once again, asking if we might be interested in doing such a thing.
I agree. I think the voice at the table is worth it in
Absolutely.
itself.
Yes.
Okay, with that, Mr. Chair, I make a motion that for the approval of the memorandum of understanding between the Department of Interior, Bureau of Land Management, the Royal Gorge Field Office, and Fremont County for the development of the environmental impact statement associated with the Parkdale mineral materials sale.
I'll second that with the note that one of the first steps of the process is a public scoping, and that process is projected to take place starting this July.
So it has been moved and seconded to approve the MOU between BLM and Fremont County. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Payne.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Commissioner McFall?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, we do have a couple of public hearings scheduled for 10 o'clock. That is 6 minutes away, so we'll take a short recess till 10.
Just too efficient.
Right.
Is that what it is? Okay, well, thank you for that. Well, urgent care would beg to differ. Double ear infection. I have it down since last week.
Computers and just do the garden stuff.
How big garden did you go this year?
I planted almost 70 plants.
What's that?
I raised beds, but that's the only limitation. My husband enclosed everything. We have to put netting around because we have so many deer.
Nothing comes.
One thing is a little pot of petunias, all the blooms were gone this
She must not have been with the liquor license.
less than 12 hours. All the blooms
All
are
right.
plucked off.
Start when you were like 8?
Why didn't you put netting on?
Fields around that they seem to have enough to eat on, so.
We're gonna put a little tag on some of our deer. Take me to Sean's house.
That's 24.
That's what we worked on this weekend too.
Garden. Yeah. I have water to do because we do.
I know.
But I'll do that next weekend. I just had to get everything in the ground. I bought it in March or April. I've been nursing them along. So I'm happy they're in the ground.
Yeah, we've had it for a while. That's so much fun.
And I didn't want to put them out and lose.
Yeah.
You know,
I know we had those on the floor. You're the same way.
one night and it's all gone.
Yep. That's all. Let's get out.
Oh, well, thank goodness. He had one. Finally let him. So cute.
I actually think she should do his graduation.
Still would have remembered the fit he threw to wear it, too.
I can't think of anything else on that roundtable next week on that Mountain District meeting other than the Parkdale thing mentioned. Yeah, that's about it. I can't think of anything earth-shattering. Might think about it. I don't like to use a lot of time on that thing anyway. Not like Tom Flower kind of.
Thank you, or put it on there, 5 to 7 minutes, hopefully he reads that part. Yeah, try it. Yeah, I'm sure pretty close enough. Okay. Okay, we'll bring this meeting back to order, and we will start with the first of our 2 public hearings. The first one is a temporary use permit for Penrose Park yard sale. It's requesting an approval for a temporary use permit to allow Penrose Park for a yard sale to occur every second Saturday of each month from June to September. The yard sale are community-based, with spaces sold to those wishing to participate. Events will be held at the parking lot area of the Gooseberry Patch, located at the intersection of 6th Street and Colorado State Highway 115 in Penrose. And we have Ms. Roberta Newton. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, is there anything else you want to say about this right off the bat?
Outside, I'm glad it's going to be a shorter application next year. I wanted to know, number one, if we could get a waiver on the fee. And then number 2 is if it's doing real good, can we change it to weekly, or do we have to put in again for that?
And that's on the surety bond is what you're talking about, the waiver, right?
No, on the application fee.
Okay, that's not in the application.
It's
What I-
$250.
What I will do is I'll have Sean address those questions. If you would, Sean, please.
So we did not get a request for a waiver of the fee. We did get one for the surety bond. And if you were going to add dates and go to weekly, then we would need a new application.
Okay.
Or amend, yeah, we could amend the application.
Hopefully it goes well enough that you need to do that, right?
I hope so too.
Yeah. Okay, if there's nothing else that you want to add right quick, I'll ask Sean for a staff report, and then we'll continue from there, okay? Sean?
Okay, and the department has reviewed the application and found it to be complete and a true representation of the request as stated herein. The department finds that all requirements per the Fremont County zoning and development regulations will be satisfied by this application. They are requesting a waiver of the surety bond, and the department has no issue with that.
Okay. All the notifications were sent out, and to the fire department, police department, state patrol, environmental health. Get all of those back. Okay, is there any other questions at this time?
I did have a question, but I think I answered it myself. I believe you've done this in the past at Gooseberry Patch.
With the Chamber of Commerce, I did it.
Okay,
yes.
it was through the chamber at that time.
Yes.
You didn't do this last year, though, right?
We tried it at the park, didn't go well at all.
Okay, okay. So then my question was going to be, I didn't see anything here from the Martins actually authorizing you to do this.
It's signed
But-
on the application.
But then I
Oh.
did find Barbara's signature under owner. And so, like I said, I kind of did finally answer my own question. Yeah, so they know, and you do have their permission to be there and to do this?
Yes, and they
Okay.
have this packet also.
And what are the hours that you're planning on doing this on those
9 to
designated
3.
dates? 9 a.m. to 3 p.m.? And is that for vendors to show up, or is that when it opens to the public?
That's when it's open to the public. The vendors
Okay.
will show up at 8.
Okay, the vendors at 8 a.m.
So the application says 9 to 2. It's page 2 of 5, and it's number 5.
Set up at 8.
Set up at 8, selling public from 9 to 2.
Okay.
That's all the questions I have, Mr. Chair.
Okay, any other at this time?
No.
Okay, this is a public hearing, so I will open a public hearing. If there's anyone who wishes to speak on this, now is the time.
Don't
Last
run.
chance.
Don't
Last
run.
chance.
Settle down.
Okay, no one, so I will close the public hearing. And drop the hammer. That's what you call dropping the hammer, right?
I guess you did, yeah.
Okay.
I have a question for Mr. Garrett. What have we typically done in the past when we have a nonprofit coming in and asking for a waiver of an application fee?
We're not a nonprofit. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's correct, you're not, but thank you for that. Okay, so in this event, for something like a recreation district, sorry,
Well, they're a fellow
a fellow
government
governmental entity.
Government entity, yeah.
Yeah, so if we get a request for that as part of the application, they go ahead and pay it, and then we go through and if it's approved, then we can approve the waiver of that.
Okay,
Okay, but we had a verbal asking to waive the fee.
And the department has no issue with that, if you guys are good.
Okay.
okay. I have nothing further.
Okay. And so parking for this, will you use some of that parking lot, or is that just for the sale and the parking would be along 6th Street, or?
No, we can't have any on the street or 115. The way we're going to put our markings for our vendors will be, there's that huge parking lot, and then if you look at one of the pictures that I sent in there, they'll go on one side of the parking lot and then on the other side of the parking lot. That leaves the middle for people to park, and then closer that you get to the restaurant, that'll be open to their people to come in and park and stuff, so.
Okay. Okay.
So it's also business as usual at the restaurant?
Yes.
Yeah.
So this will happen 4 times, June through September, once a month?
Correct.
Okay. Ready for a motion?
Yes.
Okay.
Any further questions?
No, I'm done.
Mr. Chair, make a motion that we approve temporary use permit 19-005 for the Penrose Park Yard Sale, waiving the surety bond and also the permit fee.
I'll second.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded to approve temporary use permit 19-005 for Penrose Park Yard Sale, with a waiver for the surety bond as well as the application fee. Any other discussion?
Just thank you for jumping in with that, because I'm just not at my best today, so I
I
appreciate you
have to keep
reminding
reminding
me.
myself too that we're not,
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Payne,
Aye?
Commissioner Bell,
Aye.
Commissioner McFall,
Aye.
motion carries.
All right.
thank you.
Good luck.
you.
We
Thank
hope it
you.
goes well for you.
Okay, the second public hearing is a request for temporary use permit 19-006 for Star Point Steam Fair. Request approval for a temporary use permit for Star Point Steam Fair. The event is for early childhood preschool to explore science, technology, engineering, art, and math. Numerous vendors and organizations will be in attendance. The date is June 15th, 2019, beginning at 10 a.m. and ending at 2 p.m., excluding setup and tear down at the time. We have Miss Kathleen Kennedy with us. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
How's everybody doing?
So what else do we need to know to start with?
This is wicked fun. We did it last year. We did it last year at the Abbey Fieldhouse from 10 to noon, so it was very short. We just kind of wanted to test the water, and it was well received, and we decided that we really wanted to move it to our property and have the event on a Star Point property so that people could come and see who we were. So that's why we decided to move it to our place.
So who will be invited to this?
It's open to the general public, so everybody who wants to be a part of it can come. There's no fee to attend. It's completely free. The focus is really on early childhood, so the activities that'll be presented, anything that's there will really be specifically for young children, but that doesn't mean that the parents and older children couldn't participate as well. So it really is a parent-child event.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, any further questions at this time?
Nope.
Staff report, please.
Okay, the department has reviewed the application and found it to be complete and a true representation of the request as stated herein. The department finds that all requirements per the Fremont County zoning and development regulations will be satisfied by the application, and they are requesting a waiver of the surety bond.
Okay.
Any questions before I go to public hearing?
One question I had to begin with, and I asked Mr. Garrett, is why do we have a temporary use permit in the first place? But I guess it's because a lot of this is outside and not, otherwise it's like, well, we'll be having a temporary use permit for every science fair in every school.
Well, it's outside of our typical business hours. We're not usually on site on Saturdays.
Yeah, so being outside, a lot of it is what
Being outside,
triggered that. But
yeah.
so it's like,
On a Saturday. We thought the same thing, but then it was like, well, we don't usually have anything going on a Saturday in that building, and this potentially has traffic and people, and so we just thought we'd go for it.
We appreciate that.
You're welcome.
and you were so organized in all of your,
Yes.
we appreciate that,
Thanks.
in all the application
I
and
was
everything.
well coached.
So Sean, I have one question for you before we go to public hearing. And number 12 from the environmental health officer was the food trailer that 4-H is going to have there.
That has been addressed, and everything's good on that.
Everything's all clarified on that. The 4-H concession trailer has an exemption, in other words. That was the only hiccup there. Okay, this is a public hearing, so I will open the public hearing. Anybody wishing to speak on this, now is the time. Oh, rushing forward again. Okay, seeing none, I will close the public hearing.
Are you ready for a motion?
I am.
I like these easy ones.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve temporary use permit 19-006 for the Star Point Steam Fair to be held Saturday, June 15th, beginning at 10 a.m. and ending at 2 p.m. And I wish you all the very best of luck, and I hope you have at least 300 people
Thank
show
you.
up. That's your aim, I know.
That's
And
our
so,
goal.
yes, I hope you get there.
Thanks.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve temporary use permit 19-006 for Star Point Steam Fair. Any other discussion? I agree. Good luck. This is going to be a great event, I hope. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell,
Aye.
Commissioner Payne,
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Motion carries.
No other business before us. Thank you, Kathleen. We are adjourned.
I like those easy ones.